Raising women's voices.
One story at a time.
Welcome to the She Said Project podcast. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another amazing, fun, beautiful, wonderful, exciting episode of the She Said Project podcast. And I wouldn't have it any other way than with my friend Carrie Rosso by my side.
Wow, no pressure with all those adjectives.
Pressure. I'm your co-host, Jeanette Jerzyk, National Director of the She Said Project. Put on your fancy voice.
Wow, I don't have one. I just ride your coattails. I'm just Carrie, co-founder. No fancy
Carrie.
voice. No fancy voice.
Just the person who came up with this whole thing once upon a time. I love it though, because I say this to people all the time. Where I was at that time in my life, I was searching for something, but I don't know that I would have ever put this together. I don't know that I would have created something like this. So, they say everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to. I needed you. And your big, beautiful ideas so that I could find my calling.
I think in the reverse, we're just going to have a big love fest. Okay, let's just do it. I think you were the missing puzzle piece we didn't even know was missing. And then when you fit in, it just now everything, you do all the heavy lifting
And She Said it's growing and growing, and I know there's a That's What She Said joke, and there's somewhere that I'm going to just pass right over. But I'm going to be fully transparent. I am literally out of breath. I screeched into the studio 30 seconds before we hit record on today's episode. And I'm laughing because when That's What She Said started, I remember vividly you had to make a choice between She Said rehearsal or your daughter's volleyball game or your son's softball game. Okay,
it was my son's
soccer, basketball,
well, yeah,
football,
there were a lot of little moments, and then there was one big moment where I realized I was on the way to help my son, and I realized this is not a shiny moment for me, but I had irritation in my heart, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm irritated by like this amazing moment I get to have because I'm going to miss this meeting for She Said, and that was kind of the moment of like, I love She Said, and then here came that puzzle piece of you.
But entering, when I showed up, my kids were still in diapers. They were very portable.
Yep. It is very different when you're dropping off, picking up,
Yes.
dropping off. I used to have stick-it notes on my steering wheel, like 3:30 this school, 4 o'clock this kid, this practice, this. And I know when you're in it, you hate to hear people say it. But now, I just went on a trip to Chicago with my daughters, and it was like, oh, I remember all of our volleyball weekends. And
you had a mom-daughter trip to Chicago.
It's pretty great. And people always told us when they were little, spend your money on experiences, not stuff. And boy, I'm so glad I heard that. I would like to think I would have done it that way anyway, but I should give credit. And I always tried to be mindful of don't spend it on stuff. That's not going to do anybody any good. Just spend it on experiences.
Excellent.
And now
advice.
I see you doing it, and I'm all it's so great. So enjoy it, but I know it is a lot. It
still cracks me up that I'm a sports mom, that my daughters are athletes. I don't know how that happened. It was a total accident. Wasn't my plan.
See,
but
it was meant to be because while you were always like, theater girl, and I was butt slapping and high fiving, it was training for you to now not be so shocked as you were the first time I whacked you on the fanny.
It's true. I will never forget the first volleyball game where they did their first little huddle and there were, hands slapping butts. I took a picture. I was like, Carrie, is this what you're talking about?
Yes.
This is that team building, that support, that moment that
which is
you.
I always tease that's sort of what happened with She Said, is all of us who were in those early days, we had all been team sports gals, and so we just recreated it. You grow up and you don't stop needing camaraderie and your women peers and people telling you like you can do it. So honestly, we probably just did this so that we could keep having a team.
And we do.
It's
like we have different seasons. Let's keep the metaphor going. Every season we have a different team, a different cohort of women who take the stage. And it was originally Champaign-Urbana, then Bloomington Normal, then Peoria, and it kept on going.
And then Decatur with the slam dunk.
Decatur was our slam dunk.
Keep that going, yeah.
So Decatur, Illinois, that show is produced by the Heart of Illinois Community Foundation. And I'm honored to say that they kept me involved. They bring me in to direct the show and work with the women on their stories. And I'm in year 3 of doing that right now. We have a show coming up in a couple of weeks. But our guest today is from last year's production of That's What She Said at the Lincoln Square Theater in downtown Decatur, Illinois. And she's sitting right here. So let's talk to her. Marsha Cordts, welcome. Thank you for coming on out to Champaign so we could do this in person.
Well, thank you for asking me. It's always a pleasure to be with you and have a chat.
I know. And that's why we do the podcast, because the experience is so valuable, so special, and then it's over, and then it's what happens next.
This is true.
We get an opportunity to go, how's it going, and what have you been up to, and do you remember that amazing night that we all got to experience?
I do remember that amazing night. I still have to pinch myself every now and then. I still remember my oldest child asking me repeatedly, what are you going to talk about? What are you going to talk about?
Did you give it away or did you keep it a secret?
I said, I'm talking about me. I think she thought I was going to talk about raising kids. Mm-hmm. I said, I'm talking about me. And she just...
What?
Yeah. So anyway.
I love that you said that, because that's exactly what we do. We encourage women to talk about themselves in the first person.
Right.
Because it's a rare thing to do that and feel good about it.
I love that. Somebody one time said to me when I was in the thick of having, 4 littles, and someone said, how are you? And I started rattling off all the stuff about each person. And she said, how are you? Because it's easy in your brain when your days are filled with diapers and practices and all the things.
Absolutely. And I don't want to give stuff away, but part of my story is I still have someone I care for, and it's always, how is he? And there are times I think, well, don't you care how I am? But that's what she said filled that void for me.
We spent a lot of time being really intentional about the you in your story.
Exactly.
The leading character of your story.
Yes.
Because of all of the responsibilities you currently have.
Correct.
Yeah. And it
well,
is a
back up.
gift.
How did you guys, I feel like, I don't know, I missed a link. How did this all happen? How did you get connected with She Said?
Well, that would be Natalie Beck, who's Heart of Illinois. She and I worked together many years ago at St. Mary's Hospital. She was in marketing. I was a nurse. And we just connected and stayed in touch. Not all the time, but we have some common themes and common people we knew. And I think she has a running list.
Well, I knew that she cast you because she puts together the cast really brilliantly. But I did not know you were together. I don't think I knew that she was at the hospital in marketing. Yeah. I mean, it makes total sense.
Right. And I can't tell you how many years ago it's been. It's been a long time. But anyway.
So you stayed connected?
Yes.
And did you say yes right away, or did you have to do some research?
Well, she sent me an email or a message, and I waited because I was kind of dumbstruck or awestruck. I was humbled. I looked at my husband. I said, Natalie Beck just sent me this email, and she wants me to do. That's what she said. I just can't imagine her wanting me to do that. So I was speechless, and I'm not always speechless. So anyway.
Were you at the first show?
I was not. I had another commitment. And I don't think I had a full understanding of the first show, but trust me, I watched it. I knew a couple of the cast members, not closely, but I did know them. And so, yeah, I watched their show. And then last year before our show, I came to the Champaign show.
That's right.
Because that helps a lot.
I think it does.
It does.
You want to see what you've signed up for.
Yeah.
And what other women have gone through. And so Natalie is pretty special. She knows that community well, but she does something that we don't typically do. She invites the cast almost a year in advance. And the first cast meeting is a good 10 months out. And so she builds a very long runway. It makes me commit, makes me put it on my calendar for 8 months of rehearsals.
But then, boy, with that, I think all casts get really close. But when you have a 10-month stretch of that kind of intensity, I bet you got really close with your
Absolutely, yeah. And we've all got tickets to sit in the same row. So at the next Decatur show,
Oh, I love
Okay.
we're
that.
up close. So
Something else the Decatur cast has done that is very special, and it started last year. So Lincoln Square is a very special historic theater downtown, and there is in the dressing rooms in the hallway, like there's a lot of signatures of acts and bands that have performed on the stage, and they cleared a section of the wall, and so each cast now has signed the wall. So the 24 cast and the 25 cast, and there's room for a few more casts to sign the wall. So that's kind of cool.
That's great.
And we put our logo up there, and I don't know. We don't do that anywhere else. So that feels pretty special to me.
well, Lincoln Theater is very special. My husband and I had our first date there.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and then I want that story. So
Spill
we'll
it.
be right back with Marsha Cordts. Well, I am certain that you're excited to get to know Marsha Cordts even more and hear some more of these stories that have started brewing. But let's take a moment and revisit her story from That's What She Said 2025, Heart of Illinois. Let's enjoy Marsha Cordts, and It's My Honor.
It was 4:30 a.m. at the Capital City Airport in Springfield, Illinois. The gate area was beginning to fill up with close to 200 men and women, clad in green, yellow, red, and blue t-shirts and matching ball caps. Each person had a special name tag lanyard around their neck. Coffee and donuts were abundantly available. The anticipation and excitement were contagious and beginning to grow. This morning was the departure of a Land of Lincoln honor flight, preparing to board and fly to Washington, D.C. The flight was full of dozens of veterans and their guardians who would spend the day visiting the many memorials that honor those who have served in World War II, the Korean and Vietnam Wars. I was wearing a green t-shirt as I was proudly serving as a guardian for a World War II veteran on his special trip. Fred was 88 years old and not in good health. So they assigned him to me because I am a nurse. He was so excited to see Washington, especially the Air and Space Museum. He was retired from Ozark Airlines and could not wait to see the Enola Gay. When we arrived at Ronald Reagan National Airport, we were greeted with fanfare equal to a parade. The airport was lined with hundreds of local residents thanking these veterans for their service, with music playing all around. At the end of the receiving line, we stopped for the presentation of the colors ceremony. If you had a single patriotic bone in your body, you were moved to tears. Our entourage then boarded 3 tour buses, and our long day commenced. We visited the War and Military Memorials, the Air and Space Museum, and we were honored guests at the changing of the guard ceremony at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Did you know that as the guard patrols the tomb, he intentionally scuffs the heel of his shoe to acknowledge the presence of honor flight veterans? After a very long and inspirational and educational day, we boarded our flight for the return home. On the way home, there was mail call on the plane, and veterans received letters of thanks for their service, regardless that it had been many years ago. As the veterans deplaned in Springfield, they were greeted once again with pomp and circumstance. The airport was lined with people thanking them for their service. Experiencing the honor flight was especially meaningful to me. Though I was there as a guardian for Fred, most people had no idea that I too am a veteran. While I did not serve during one of these wars, I served for 10 years as an officer in the United States Navy Reserve Nurse Corps. I served 1 weekend a month at the Navy Reserve Center in Decatur, and I trained 2 weeks every year so that if necessary, I would be prepared to serve in active duty as a Navy nurse. On these very special trips to Washington, I could also feel the appreciation and the pride of serving my country. People often ask me, what were you thinking joining the military in your 40s? Yes, I was 42 when I became a commissioned officer in the United States Navy Reserve Nurse Corps, and you might call me crazy. I had 2 colleagues who served in the reserves, and I became quite curious about what they were doing. So I looked into my options. My education and years of experience as an RN qualified me to serve as a commissioned officer. So for 10 years, I served my country in the Navy Reserves. I drove a Humvee in the mountains of Honduras on a medical mission trip, where the first rule of the road is yield to the vehicle of greater tonnage, and that was not my Humvee. I learned the proper way to wear a gas mask in the confidence chamber, and when exposed to tear gas, what happens when you are asked to remove your mask before exiting the room. And when I got outside, my snot ran all the way to the ground. I recall learning to rappel, terrified of heights, and the instructor saying, "Ma'am, just hang your heels over the edge." I'm like, right. Well, I did. I managed to make it down that wall, and I went back up 2 more times and slid down the free-falling rope. As a nurse in the Navy, we function in what is called a fleet hospital, which is much like a MASH unit. Training for war conditions includes simulations, such as crawling through a jungle with a patient on a stretcher, running triage in a wartime ER, where anything that could go wrong does, such as failure in communication systems or inadequate supplies. I also attended training sessions such as the leadership course on Coronado Island, and I had the opportunity to work at the Navy Medical Center in San Diego. Now, who doesn't like to go to San Diego? My monthly weekends were mostly at the Decatur Navy Reserve Center, where we provided medical support to all the reservists, ensuring that they were ready should they be called to active duty. Reservists were required to complete certain physical timed exercises so they would be prepared. This included push-ups, sit-ups, and a cardio test of a run or a swim. I had started running in my 30s, and I found great pride outrunning those young reservists who had had way too much fun the night before. In my 50s, I was exposed to triathlons. It was exhilarating. At age of 56, I competed in the Rodney Miller Triathlon, and I won my age group, and I was not the only one in my age group. And I am still going. Last summer, I did a triathlon at the ripe old age of 72. After all of my years as a nurse, as a commissioned officer, and after spending my entire career of taking care of others, running and competing is something I continue to do for me. It is my time to get out of the house and get in my zone. You see, even though I am retired, I am still a full-time caregiver for my husband, who has many health issues. Some days I am Nurse Ratchet, and some days he tells me I hung the moon. One day he did ask me, "Do you do all these things to get away from me?" And I said, "No, I do these things because I can, and someday I may not be able to. So now is my time to keep learning and growing and doing all the things I've always loved to do." I've always had a love for music. I sang in grade school chorus, high school choirs, and church choirs, and I've enjoyed singing in the Greater Decatur Chorale. And I now get to perform with Opus 24, and this just feeds my soul. I also played piano on and off, never practicing like I should. So I started lessons again after retirement, and now I do practice most every day. I volunteer playing at a local hospital, and last year I even did a stint playing at Von Mar. It was a little harder than I thought, but I so enjoyed it. I know one day I may not get to enjoy all the things as often, if and when my husband needs me more or my own health dictates it. So I am not ready to stop. I loved my nursing career. My greatest accomplishment was the opening of the Central Illinois Surgery Center. I think I may have been a little over my head when I took the position and to build this center from the ground up. But I discovered resources and people that helped me get an amazing center up and running. And I always remember what my husband said when I took on this endeavor. He said, "This is your chance to put all your passions and experiences into action. This is your moment to become self-actualized." And he was not wrong. I am so proud of my nursing career. It has been an honor to care for so many patients through the years. I'm grateful that my husband and I are soon to celebrate 54 years of marriage. And it is my honor that because of my nursing experience, I can take care of him. You know, in these golden years, those vows of in sickness and in health can take on a whole new meaning. I am honored by the love my children and grandchildren show me. I am blessed that my body still honors my desire to keep running, and I just adore that posse of friends that keeps me moving. I continue to keep music in my life for the joy that it brings me, and I am honored that I get to share that joy with others when I play. And I am honored beyond words that with each of the 3 honor flights I was invited on to escort one of our veterans as he is being celebrated for his service. For a brief moment, I see the world through his eyes and all that we are fighting for.
Hashtag goals. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a little bit like an underachiever after listening to Marsha's story.
I know. I don't know if I should salute or go for a run or ask her to take my blood pressure. There were so many takeaways in that, and honoring others and honoring herself, and really honoring yourself through your work, because I think nursing and like all of it is that wrapped up in honoring yourself and others.
Well, my career and my Navy experience, it gives you a chance to care for and honor others, but also it gives you that feel good or a sense of accomplishment when it's all said and done.
Well, and I would think being in that field, it's very different than if you leave work and you think like, ooh, plowed through that spreadsheet. You know, in that kind of a field, you leave and you've impacted lives.
And you might wake up at midnight and say, oops, I forgot to chart that, and call them back and say, did you know that in la, 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 I did that for that patient? That really happened.
I'm telling you, in nurses, I think anybody who has ever had a loved one need their care or needed the care yourself, nurses make the world go round, man. I'm so grateful.
And healthcare has changed immensely. I'm happy to say that I liked it better when it was the old school way, but that's...
Well, you had your impact on it. You built a clinic from the ground up, you said.
That was amazing. I had a lot of help. It was amazing. The right people, the right place, the right doctors. So
being in education, sometimes I'll be out and I'll see a 30-year-old that I haven't seen since they were 6, and they'll recognize me. Do you have people that recognize you from nursing?
Not so much. More would be former coworkers that, since I've been retired for 9 years now, even that you haven't seen for a while, and just this week, I ran into somebody and we're like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing now?" And you're always afraid to ask, "Are you tired yet?" So yeah.
All right, I want to go back to the conversation we had to halt earlier. You said that you and your husband had your first date at the Lincoln Square Theater.
Yes.
And you are now celebrating how many years of marriage?
It'll be 55. And
Congratulations.
how can that be? 55 in June, yes. Yeah. Yes,
Right,
we
so-
saw the movie Funny Girl there.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
And how old were you? Just a spring chicken at the time?
I was 17.
My goodness.
Not almost, yeah. I think I was 17 when we first started dating, so yeah.
Was he a romantic?
Yeah, he was pretty sappy every now and then, the right kind of gifts and those kind of things. So, yeah.
And how many children do you have?
I have 2 children. I have a son and a daughter. And my daughter's 50. I mean, yeah, that's frightening, in itself. But
Were they at the show?
yes, my kids were at the show. Yes, they were.
And so, did they have any idea? Had anyone heard you practice, or was it a
no
surprise?
one knew. I think my husband, had an inkling of some of the things I would talk about. But yeah, I think my son got a little emotional.
Oh, that's so great. And then what was the feedback afterward that you got from people?
Oh, I just kudos more than anything. I do have one friend that said, "I knew what you're going to talk about," only because she figured out from It's My Honor. I think she was involved with the first honor flight that I did.
Well,
so.
the honor flights weren't the original main
No.
topic of what we had, worked on through the process. But I remember when that came up, that experience came up, and everyone in the room was just in
Right.
awe. It's such a unique experience that once you explained to all of us from your perspective, what that day was like, we wanted it. We wanted you to bring that, and then to tie in your own experience in the services, in the armed services. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I just had a conversation with someone last week whose husband had done an honor flight, and she said he's never been the same, because he was so moved by being able to do that. So, yeah.
So
I mean,
that
he
is-
was a guardian, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is an organization that puts these events together.
Yes.
And that you got to volunteer for. You've been on 3 honor flights.
Yes.
And so this is still something that goes on if people wanted to learn more.
Oh, yes. Honor flights are still alive and well. It's out of Springfield. It's Land of Lincoln Honor Flight, I believe is what it's called. But it's nationwide. So I did hear the other day that if you're over 70, they don't let you be a guardian anymore. So I guess I'm out.
Rude. you
But
can run a
Marsha?
triathlon.
Have you
Right.
met? Right. You
Yeah.
can run a triathlon, but you can't go on an airplane. Or at
No.
least that airplane.
Well, anyway.
What I noticed watching the performance back, and it ties into what we were talking about earlier, every time you said something that you were proud of and it was everything from being a veteran to your music to your running. Every time you said something in the first person that was a little bit vulnerable, you got emotional, you got choked up. And that speaks to the power of saying things out loud.
Right.
Makes them real, makes them visceral.
Well, I think we downplay things that we do. And so then when you do that, you're like, I'm talking about myself. People don't like, I don't like to brag, and I think women especially downplay a lot of things that they accomplish.
Well, I think that happens when you were describing how you got involved and this person emailed me and what do they want me? That always is like waving a red flag to me
Yes.
because I think women are so humble and modest, and so any chance we get to shine a light on somebody, and when they say that, I think, oh, you're absolutely the right person, because they'll often say, oh no, I'm just a fill in the blank.
Yes.
And it's like
Yeah.
it's the little just roles that make the world go round.
This is true. Yeah.
There's
Just a
no
nurse.
such thing as just a nurse. I'm like
right.
right on the same one. There's no such thing.
Or as just a mom. That was the year before.
On one of the Decatur casts.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
did a whole just
Yeah.
topic in her story.
yeah.
But there is no such thing because the work you do as a nurse impacts lives every single day. The work you did, in the services impacts lives every single day. The work you do now at home with your husband.
I know. I said it's an honor. Some days it's not, or I don't act like it is.
How are things today? Give us an update.
I mean, his health is stable. He just requires, he's on oxygen. He has some other issues that he is going to be forever. But he goes to cardiac rehab 3 times a week for his lungs, and have to get him moving. Otherwise, the recliner's too friendly. Yeah. So anyway, our son comes home a lot and does a lot of heavy duty stuff that he can't do. And I did get sidelined last year, so I broke my foot.
Who took care of you? As you're the one taking care of everyone.
Yeah.
Friends, and Matthew came home for quite some time. So, yeah,
Is there a story? How did you break your foot?
running.
Well,
Yep, there you go. So
are you still running? Are you back?
I'm not back running yet. I'm back walking and swimming. So if I missed the triathlon that I was supposed to do in August. So my goal is to do it even if I have to walk the 3 miles. So there you go.
So when is it next?
It'll be August
Okay, so you missed last year's,
because I broke it August 1st.
and
yeah,
you were determined to be back
the next
on the
time.
track by August.
Yes, we'll see.
If anyone can do it,
Yep.
it's
We'll
Marsha Cordts.
road trip. Let us know if you do it, and we will hold banner
Get
signs.
the signs and the cheering section going.
Yeah.
No, that sounds like a fun day. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. What do you think?
I'm just so impressed. I did a mini tri here one time.
Oh, I know they have those. Yeah.
And I about threw out a hip. It was like, and so then when I think of people doing like the actual triathlons, that takes a lot of training.
Well, I did a sprint, but Decatur, we swam in Lake Decatur. It was a lake swim, and then it was 800 yards, 19-mile bike, and then a 5K.
So impressive.
Yeah, crazy.
She's just, you know.
She says it so casually. Like,
Yeah.
it's what I do on a Tuesday morning. Like,
Well, it's not been easy for me to be sidelined. I'm taking a strength class. I mean, it's amazing how fast you lose your strength.
Yep. So have you gotten into this whole weighted vest thing?
No,
I need to know. Yeah.
no.
it's
I
trending.
see them everywhere. Well, I got one for my husband, but then both of us are too embarrassed to like wear it. Like, so then no matter how hot it is, we'll wear it, but then we put stuff over because like, are we becoming trendy people who wear vests because it's the trend? Or
Yeah, see, I haven't. I would think it would be hard on your joints. I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to go with that. A nurse told me not to do it because
There it is.
it's hard
Extra
on my
weight.
joints. Yep, that's it.
My weight is enough. Stress on my joints. Thank you very much.
But I
keep it
am
moving.
inspired now. Like I do want to, because I think you want to be, you're great now, but then I'm 54. And so I think things I'm doing now will impact when I'm 74 and on
Yeah,
and on and on.
I tell my trainer, like, chances of me getting to, bikini bod readiness anytime ever again is impossible. But if I can build my core strength and keep my balance and, age with grace.
And be strong. Like I'm not interested in bikini bod, poncho bod. I'm ready. Like I'm your girl. You need a poncho bod. That's me. But I want to be strong and healthy and fit and, be able to do all the things I want to do. So forget about bikini bods.
I will
Come sit with the poncho
I
bods.
I have a visual of carrying a bikini and a poncho, actually, that will live with me forever.
I apologize
that
for
one's
that.
going to the grave.
Sorry.
Oh my! All right, I want to hear about the music. Are you still playing, singing? Are you still singing and
I
playing?
am. I'm still singing with Opus. I loaded up my scooter and went to practice last fall. I'm still playing, and I've started a new endeavor, and that's
Okay.
the organ.
What is this?
That's
At
very
church.
difficult, right?
Yes.
So a new instrument that you didn't play before.
Well, but if you play piano, it's easier to pick up the organ. But yeah, organists are few and far between.
This is true. No, there definitely is a demand. Are you loving it?
I do. It's going to church. I call and say, "Can I come practice the organ?" We have a beautiful instrument, the big. and you're all by yourself in the sanctuary, and you can play it as loud as you want. So, I mean, I'm still, the pedals are, I can do a few, but I took some lessons last summer and then broke my foot, so I couldn't do the pedals. But I'm doing my first full service in a few weeks of doing at, because we
Playing
have
the full
liturgy
service.
and everything. So we'll see.
That's amazing.
It's fun.
Good luck.
Yeah.
This is
Goodness.
the inspiration today is always try something new. Always keep learning. Always, take a chance on yourself.
Have you always been that way since you were little?
I don't know that I was always that way. I was always involved in things, but I think I took a lot from my mother because, the first time I tried out for chorus, I didn't make it because I forgot the words to America or My Country 'Tis of Thee. And I tried out for cheerleading and I didn't make it. And my mom just would say, try again. And that's kind of what I did, But I really do wish I would have practiced the piano more as a kid. I really do. Mom would be proud now, so.
I think that's a regret many of us have.
Yeah.
I did not. I gave up the piano way too soon. I wish it was still a talent I had. But you can say you played at Von Mar. Not every one of us can say that.
I shop at Von Mar, but yeah, that's amazing. Well, and being a lifelong learner, I think when people say that, I always think that's what, you don't want to get stuck in your ways, and I can tend to be a curmudgeon, but like making myself think, learn something new, try a new thought. I know, don't make that face at me. I'm trying. I try new thoughts.
No, I'm curious now that your kids have flown the nest. Have you given any thought to a new hobby or a new experience?
Well, I'm back at Montessori full time, which I love. And so that takes up a ton of my time. But not having, children under your roof that eats up so much of your thought, what time do I need to be there? Did I sign their paper? When is their conference? Do they have a dentist appointment? All of those things that you don't even see, just that mental load of what parents are keeping track of in their heads every day. That now it's like tumbleweed rolling around in there. And I'm like, let's think about a new thing. So I don't even have like a new hobby on the horizon. I just focus on like when something comes in front of me, instead of thinking, put that in my pocket, someday I'll think about that. I can really stop and think like, how do I feel about that? Or I don't know anything about that. I want to, and then I'll go down the rabbit hole of Google and then I feel so proud. Like, look at that, I'm learning new things.
You learn something new.
Yeah, this day will come for you too.
I can't even fathom. My brain is so chock full of schedules and dentist appointments and school forms. Just last night, I'm sitting at the kitchen counter. My daughter's doing her homework. I'm on my phone looking, where is that form for that field trip? Where is that thing? Because I know it was in my email at some point. Now I have no idea where it is. Oh, man. And then it gets full, and then things start slipping out my ears. I think there's no more room in there.
It does come full circle. Don't you think then you just fill it with new things, because you don't want to be our age and thinking, it's all past. It's all, you want to keep learning. And
I would agree. And I'm still very scheduled in my brain. That's something I've not ever been able to get rid of since I retired. So I'm still very clock oriented, like I want to be done doing this by this time so that I can do this, or I have this much time to clean house, which I don't enjoy doing, before I can do something else, And I still get together with my posse of runners, because always one of us is always having to walk. We're all aging, and we run they run when they can. I'm just walking now, and but everything is still scheduled. Then my husband says, what do you have going on today? And I go, well, I'm going to take you to rehab, and then while you're there, I might just sit in the car and do the checkbook, or I'm going to run to the store. But everything is still pretty scheduled. I have schedule when I play at the hospital.
And I'm
Once
so
a
happy.
planner, always a planner.
Checkbook.
I know.
Thank you for saying that. I thought I was the last person on the planet with
You
a
do
checkbook.
not.
Yes, I do.
Well, I have to put my debits in my checkbook. Does that help?
I don't have a debit card.
You don't want to
Or
know
Venmo
how we,
either,
how we
right?
organize
I do
our
have
finances.
Venmo, but I don't have a debit card. This is
And that's not a
confession
bad
time.
thing.
Yeah.
That's probably not a bad thing.
So, are we really telling the truth?
Yeah, it's confession hour.
So my husband and I do everything on credit cards because we get the miles.
Sure.
But then it has this magic button that you press and you download your entire year in a spreadsheet. And then so we're both business owners. So we have to code and itemize our taxes. So we use the spreadsheet from the credit card company and we go line by line and code if it, what it counts towards. And so for us that is organization. And it doesn't matter if it happens 6 months after the end of the year. It's still organized.
There's
in my
truth
mind.
to that. My son owns his own business, and he's always filing late, getting an extension, all that good stuff.
There are reasons.
And there are reasons.
There are reasons.
There are reasons he
There's
does
a lot
that.
of moving parts.
Yeah.
You have to account for.
Yes.
But the credit card makes it easier, at least for just everything's in one place. Really, is the easiest thing. But I've
A lot of
never
people do it that way.
sat in my car and reconciled my checkbook. Sorry.
Well, we had a lot going on one year, and to get our Christmas tree, we sent our girls, and I said, just grab Dad's checkbook. They didn't know how to write a check. They were, what do you mean? And what do we put here? And and I was so appalled, but they were equally appalled by us. Like, you pay for things by writing a little note out on a piece of paper?
So I'm good with a credit card. My kids laugh at me that I don't use Apple Pay. Like it keeps going. Like my daughter will go into the gas station and buy a drink, and I'm like, "You need my money?" And she's like, "No, I had Apple Pay." I'm like, "Who are you? You're 12. I don't understand."
By the time I catch up with something new and then I'm braggy about it, like, do you want me to Venmo you? By the time I throw that out, hoping someone will
Do you know
notice,
how long it took me to get you on Venmo?
I know. Well, I didn't even get on there. I got a notice like Jeanette Jerzik paid you whatever on Venmo, and I was like, "What
What is
voodoo
this
magic
thing?"
is this?"
This is black
That is the
magic.
truth.
I think my piano teacher got me on Venmo, and she's close to my age. So
Venmo, if you're listening, we will totally take a sponsor endorsement. That's
But
fine.
see, we're lifelong learners. Like I
Exactly.
didn't deny learning something new. We're learning. We're growing.
It's true. It's a challenge. Think about our lifetimes, though, if you want to, without scaring yourself. We went from zero technology to all the technology in our lifetime. I don't know if you guys remember, Commodore 64 and Atari. That was our childhood. And now
we had board games.
Yeah.
yes, that too.
You kicked the can, Jeanette.
Yeah, tetherball in the backyard.
But we haven't lost things like nursing and education.
Exactly.
There are all these great things that make our lives easier and easier to track and that are smoother. But really, the connections, hopefully those things give us more time to spend with connections and the people in our lives. Right?
I think so. I'm trying to imagine how technology has advanced in those fields too. You were talking about forgetting to chart something, with a patient. I think today you could just open an app and type in updates.
Well, yeah,
into an
because
app.
charting is totally electronic now. So, and
Every
it was
doctor's-
before I left, but yeah.
Every appointment I walk into, I am now asked, "Do you mind if we record so this can be,
It's easier for
transcribed
them.
into our account?"
Okay, I just heard about that. What do you think about that? That seems. This is like my
Voodoo.
my
It's all
antenna. Well, I
voodoo.
just feel like I don't know. Nobody's asked me that yet. Maybe I'm just mad nobody's asked to record me. But I don't know how I feel about that being recorded. In
I mean,
there.
is
You
it
know,
really
it's-
any different than when I leave this room, I'm going to go write down everything we talked about because I have, they have to chart it.
I don't know.
I'm not sure about that. My daughter is a nurse practitioner, and she does telehealth even. So that's another,
Oh, yeah.
she has appointments telehealth on FaceTime. It's not FaceTime, but it is.
It's all video now.
Yeah, it's all video.
So much is on video now. All right, we're going to take one more quick break, and we'll be right back with Marsha Cordts. Stay tuned. So technology in the medical field, hot topic. I'm trying to think how we can apply technology to improve That's What She Said. I know that I'm behind the times in people ask me all the time, did you record that Zoom call? And I'm like, no, that probably would have been a great idea because we had these wonderful brainstorm sessions about a story. And then we have to remember what we talked about. I'm like, if I had just hit that button, we would have had a recording or a transcription of the conversation. So I probably need to start thinking about, with AI, how dare I say it, but to make life easier. I think we're working too hard
Using it for the power of
for
good.
the power of good, not evil.
Yeah. But I do think like all the things that are going on, I'm going back into grandma mode, but like I'm so glad that there was nobody filming, and it's very different how we interact with each other and if we think there's something recording us. Right? Like
That's
it's like
true.
when kids are little, I had read something once like even if you have your ear to them, let them play and explore thinking they're alone, not thinking they're playing for you to clap or you're watching every move they make. And it's the same, I think, with people. If we're interacting, like we're going to talk differently when we're off camera than when we're rolling. And I think when there are cameras everywhere, it's changing how we act. Maybe not. I'm going
No,
off
I think
on a
you're
tangent.
onto something there.
Yeah,
think
and
you
so
could be
I'm
onto
glad
something.
that I got to have so many great experiences, and then I can remember them however I want.
Through the Gary filter. Oh yeah. You were
Yeah.
amazing. It was awesome.
Yeah, let's go with that. But now, young people, they don't have that opportunity because even if they aren't filming, everyone is filming at all times.
Well, I'm gonna take advantage and say that's why That's What She Said is so great, because it is the personal storytelling and connecting face to face, in person. The live show has, I think, the value will never go. I hope it will never go away, because we are so tied to our devices and quick texts and quick stories and emojis. Like we don't even use words anymore. We use quick, emoji to respond to somebody, and to take the time to connect with another woman and listen and just sit and listen to her in real time. It continues to be powerful. Marsha just reminded me that when we started working with the current cast that is preparing for their show in 2026, something that Natalie has started doing, which I thought was pretty awesome, is at their very first cast meeting, she invited several of the previous cast ladies, speakers, to come and talk about their experience. And so Marsha was on the panel. It was a fun party.
It was a fun party.
Yeah.
We had good food.
Most importantly.
Yes.
So you went and talked to the new cast.
Actually, we were kind of like a panel, and it was a Q&A. I think each of us there shared a little bit about our experience doing That's What She Said, and then the cast could ask us questions, and it kind of helped.
Did you know anybody?
I know
going
one.
Into the new
I
cast?
know
Okay.
one. I know Lisa. So,
Yay.
And so you're going to the next show with your castmates.
yes, we have seats. The week they went on sale, we all have seats together. I think we're like in the second row.
So what Marsha doesn't know is when she was in That's What She Said, the cast from 2024 was doing the exact same thing. They had dinner out. They planned to be there together and got their tickets and were organized. And I have a picture of me with the entire cast on the red carpet in front of you. Were in the dressing room getting ready,
Right.
so you guys weren't part of that. But I happened to find them in the lobby and got this great picture of all of us. And then they all came down backstage and we all signed the wall. But I think they snuck in to come and cheer you guys on.
They did.
Okay, so let me know when you're there, and I'll bring you guys down in the dressing rooms. To
It's pretty
sneak in.
special to be there after you've done it because you know what they have gone through
Especially
to get
in
there.
the same facility, I would think. Especially the same theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'll be looking for you guys so we can do our group photo
That'll be
in
fun.
the lobby.
It'll be fun. We're trying to figure out if we're going to do something before. It's hard to have to circle back and do something fun before or after. Snacks or whatever.
And I don't think so. Obviously, we know the value of That's What She Said for building community. I'm always amazed, and I need to do more research. But there is even an economic impact, when you put on an event like this. Because women, we like to go out for some drinks and some appetizers, And
Right.
so I've seen, we've talked to the Visitors Bureau in a couple of different communities. There's hotel stays, there's travel, there's gas sales, there's restaurants and drinks, things we don't think about when we're like, I'm just going to put on this event, but it has a broader impact than we realize.
Yeah. And it's an amazing fundraiser.
It is. It is. Again, Heart of Illinois does something special and unique. They have the Women's Giving Circle called She Gave, and they give away, I don't know, $25,000 on stage at every show.
And that's one of the things I love about the different cities doing the show is everybody has their own twist on whatever someone's passion is, they'll find a way to marry it to the show. You know, I'm really passionate about, or I want to do fundraiser for, or connecting it to a conference. Like, I
That's
love
nice.
that women think outside the box. And like, I have these two things I'd like to marry, and women are awesome.
Yeah. You wanna get some stuff done in your community. You attach yourself to Natalie Beck. That is the answer.
This is true.
She is a powerhouse.
Well, I
for
just
sure.
saw her yesterday. I
Oh yes.
forgot to mention that.
Can you reveal?
I was playing the piano at DMH. She was there at a meeting or whatever, and she says, "I knew it was you," and so she rooted me on for today.
At the hospital?
Yeah.
You were
Yeah.
playing?
Yes, I still play once a week there. So
Of course you do. Why am I of course she does.
I know. It's amazing.
that's my downtime.
All right, so hashtag goals. What's next?
What's next is to get my physical fitness back to where it was. I mean, I still want to run, but I will not throw myself into a injury to do it again. That would be silly, but
No, you're being smart.
yeah, I'm trying to be really smart about it. It's almost bicycle time. I need to get my bicycle tuned up and we can be riding again. And
Any choir performances coming up?
yes, actually, oh my goodness, we're doing an extra one. Opus is connecting with Millikan University's, the Millikan Decatur Symphony and their choirs. And we are doing the Brahms Requiem in German. So there you go. 7 movements in German.
Underachiever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Slacker.
I took 4 years of German in high school. I don't really know everything I'm singing, but it's sure helped with the pronunciations. We do have interpretation, but talk about a challenge.
I love that. That is, I think, the theme of today's podcast is challenging yourself at every age, through the ages, as you age. Keep it going, because look at you. You are vibrant, you are healthy, you are making things happen. I adore you. I'm so grateful you took the time to come on out to Champaign and hang out with us little folk, us little people.
So glad. I'm so glad, because this is my first meeting. This is the great thing of other cities, is I don't get to always see those shows. And so getting to meet you in person and then watch your piece, it's pretty awesome.
It's been a shot in the arm for me today, too. So
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm going to use that. Well, thank you to all our friends for supporting the She Said Project podcast and our partnership at WCIA. We are so grateful. Marsha, thank you again for your time. It's
thank you.
wonderful to see you. And we're so honored to share your story. It's my honor with a greater audience. See you next time. Thank you for listening to the She Said Project podcast. All materials contained in the podcast are the exclusive property of the She Said Project, and That's What She Said, LLC. For more information on our live shows, go to shesaidproject.com.